I don't think there's ever been a character quite like Sora in the Kingdom Hearts universe and in gaming history, and not only with gaming but with fiction as well. So when I look at Sora and I look at his growth as a character, he's had multiple span of games over 20 years. 20 years of fantastic games, fantastic storytelling, fantastic character growth, fantastic stories of overcoming and adversity. And with Sora, I'm very excited to talk about his growth as a character as we lead into Kingdom Hearts 4. So going back as far as the Kingdom Hearts 1, you can see a lot of the traits he had early on, always trying to cheer people up. He's very friendly, he's very brave, and as the series goes on, you get to see him really put his own attributes that make him who he is. You see other people, other events, put that to the test to see how Sora grows and reacts to the world that he's from, or the worlds that he's in. And I think that's really cool to see a character, as each game continues, he's continuing to grow as well in different areas, whether it's physically, whether it's mentally or emotionally. You see Sora grow up, you see him face adversity, you see him overcome a lot, which is very inspirational when you look at a character like that, that from the main villain, from Xehanort's perspective, he's an ordinary boy, but he's anything but ordinary. If you look at anything that Sora's been able to accomplish as a character, I think he is a prime example of what a lot of people look for in terms of a good person, in terms of a lot of great beneficial attributes that people will like, kindness, showing mercy, being slow to anger. And we see a lot of that with Sora, he's slow to anger when it comes to Xemnas or Ansem or Xehanort, giving multiple chances. Even though he's got to fight them, you can see that he's doing it for the greater good of not only himself, but everybody else. And he's fearless when it comes to the face of, fighting pure darkness, fighting something that is not sure what the outcome's going to be, I think when he was fighting Xehanort at Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't know if he knew how it was going to all end, but he had enough faith that the people around him, it's more important to keep them safe and to do what's necessary than to cower and give up. And with Sora, you've seen him go through immense amount of adversity, losing his friends, having to find them, and then not knowing that other people that he'll meet in the future have been suffering, and he's got to go through that suffering with them to grab their hearts and to bring them back and to save everybody like he did in Kingdom Hearts 3. And with Sora as a character, you see the bravery, you see how he's full of light, how he's an overcomer, how he has faith in his friends, how he even has faith in villains as well, even trying to talk to them and try to work things out to try to give them a chance to see if they can experience the change and the positivity that Sora brings, and to ultimately turn to light. That's what Sora fights for, He fights for the side of light. He's the hero of the Keyblade. So it's cool to see him interact with villains and show mercy and try to empathize with them if he can. And if he can't, then he'll do his best to, after he beats them, to show them, the error in their ways and how they can overcome that and continue to move forward and try to change them. And when it comes to Sora as a character, I think one of his biggest attributes, or one of the biggest things he does in general, is sacrifice himself for people. We see that a lot throughout the series. He sacrificed himself for Kairi, for Riku, for anybody, for Roxas, It's a very beautiful thing to see a character that's not even... He's gone through so much, and he has so much wisdom for his age that it's cool to see a character already have that implanted, like, no matter what happens to me, I'm going to make sure that everybody around me is going to be safe. And we see that in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, or in the Kingdom Hearts 3's normal story, how he saves everybody. Or in Kingdom Hearts 2, he made sure that Riku's alright when they're fighting Xemnas, willing to sacrifice himself. And I think that's cool to see a character that literally in Kingdom Hearts 4 is dead, that he put his life on the line and just to save Kairi and everybody else, and disregarded his own. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of pride and there's a little bit of stuff like that when it comes to him, like not listening to Mickey and waiting until they regrouped and met Yin Sid to figure out what they would do about Kairi. But it's cool to see Sora follow his heart, and yeah, it was a little bit prideful to save Kairi in the way that he did, but at the same time, he did it with great intentions. And even though it cost him his life, that sacrifice is something that's very important, and we see it a lot throughout the series of Sora sacrificing himself for the people that he loves. And he's still learning and growing, and I can't wait to see how that's going to turn out in Kingdom Hearts 4. He's very young. I think he's 17, probably going on into 18 in Kingdom Hearts 4. So it's going to be great to see how he tackles Quadratum, how he tackles the real world based on fantasy, which is similar to Versus 13. I think they were going with the Versus 13 vibe. So I definitely think we'll see Sora encounter a lot more, not only realistic struggles that are similar to what he's already gone through, but also test him in newer areas. And I think we'll learn a lot from characters like Yozora or from the Masters. I think a lot of what he's going to learn in the future will definitely have to do with more morality, even more so in the Kingdom Hearts series, and also to do with this inner struggle. I think now since Sora's alone, I think we'll see him grow exponentially, even more so, because he's got to face his own self. He's got to face his own actions, and he doesn't have the strength of his friends anymore. He's got to rely on his own strength and his own will to overcome things, and I think that's something we've never seen before with Sora. He's always had people around him, Donald or Goofy or Riku or anybody else from any other trio helping him out and getting him to the point that he's gotten to at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. But now, since he's in a world by himself, it's going to be interesting to see how he himself is going to find strength in his own power. I think that's something that we've seen Terra, we've seen Aqua, we've seen Vin, we've seen Roxas, Xion Lee, Riku, and Kairi, and much more. All of those characters have found their inner strength, but when it comes to Sora, his has been more reliant on other people's. So I cannot wait to see how Sora's finally going to unlock his true potential, and that potential is going to come from his own heart this time. And not to say that he'll never rely on his friends, he always will, because that's part of his core character. But to see him, it would be cool to see him question himself or question his actions in Kingdom Hearts 4, and he'll ultimately overcome himself, because a lot of things that we go through as humans, it's man versus self. So I cannot wait to see Sora deal with the issues that are definitely going to come in Kingdom Hearts 4 to test him. And other than that, I'm just excited to see how he is, how he's going to talk, how he's going to respond, what type of actions he's going to make as a young adult in the world of Quadratum. So it's going to be pretty cool to see that. And we'll definitely talk about how he's going to fit in with Quadratum and what that'll look like and what challenges that might bring to him and how he'll overcome them. But for now, I just want to talk about Sora's growth as a character. I think it's very fascinating. I think he's one of the best written gaming characters of all time, in my opinion. He's my favorite fictional character, and I'm excited to keep growing up with him. I've learned a lot from a character like this. Not to sound corny or anything, but when I play games, I like to look at the deeper meanings, and I like to look at characters and stories. I like to look at metaphors and symbolism and all that. But so with Sora, I just learned so much from that character and apply a lot of that stuff. A lot of that stuff is common knowledge, to be a great person, all these things, but having good qualities and being brave and courageous and all that, that's something that definitely is things you should take up after. And being just a very good human being, being a model citizen. So it's cool to see Sora just written as a great character that's not perfect, but he's human, and that's what I like about him. He does crazy magical stuff and things I'll never be able to do, but it's cool to see at the very core of Sora, he's just someone that cares about the people around him. He wants to be happy with them and experience that. And I think that's just a great quality and a great thing to see from a character that's extremely human. So I'm very, very excited for the future. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Sora's growth, How has it impacted you? How do you see Sora as a character? And what are you excited for in Kingdom Hearts 4 moving forward when you see Sora grow more into his adulthood? And what actions and reactions do you think he'll have to the world of Quadratum? So with that said, thank you guys for the support lately. I appreciate it a lot. We're getting close to 600 subs, so thank you guys very, very much for that. But if you guys can hit the like button, subscribe, share my videos, and do all that good stuff, it just helps me with the YouTube algorithm, get it out to the world and whatnot. And, it definitely gives me more motivation and inspiration to make more videos for you guys. So thank you for the support. You guys stay blessed, drink your alkaline water, stay healthy out there, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.